Everybody put your sales caps on. Get ready to move into the world of sales. So how many of you here consider yourselves a salesperson? Okay, great. And how many of you here sell? Okay, so there are some people that don't consider themselves salespersons, salespeople that sell, yeah. Carolyn actually made a comment to me once about how I have to be careful about calling people salespeople because not all business owners think of themselves as salespeople. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And how many of you guys expected to be selling like 20 years ago? Did you ever expect to be selling? Okay. It's one of those things that happen is you start a business or you're really good at what you do, like a technical skill, and you're like, I want to do that, it's your passion, and you go out and you start it, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, how am I going to get customers? I got to sell, all right? So a lot of professionals and business owners go through sort of this shock of, what am I going to do to get people to come in the door? So today we're going to take about 45 minutes, I believe, and I'm going to try to take you through, there's a lot of content, so I'm going to abbreviate a little bit, and stop me if I'm going too fast, but I'm going to take you through a lot of content about the world of sales. And we'll talk about some of the challenges that you guys face out there, about why maybe getting to a yes can be very challenging. And then I'm going to share some tips that you guys can take with you that will help you be more successful at selling. So I'm going to ask for a couple of things. One is I'd like to do a quick commercial for Sandler Training at the end of this, about 60 seconds or so. Is that okay with you guys?
Sure.
Okay, great. And then I'm going to ask you to do one thing. So one more thing. When you go back to your offices, you're going to take your notes and shove them in a drawer and never look at them again. So I'm going to ask you to actually write down one takeaway, one thing that you will actually take from this session and actually put into action. And I'd love for you to share it at the end if we have time. Okay, so think about a takeaway. And I'm going to raffle off this book, which is one of Sandler Training's most popular books, called You Can't Teach a Kid to Ride a Bike at a Seminar. It's basically, the point is you can't learn how to sell overnight. It's like learning to speak Spanish, right? So, so this is one of our best books, and it goes through our whole Sandler system. I'll raffle this off at the end, and I'll show you some ways to connect with me. All right. So let's get started and talk a little bit about methodology. Can anybody tell me what methodology is? What is methodology?
Well, it's the way in which you proceed to do something.
Okay.
A plan or a system.
A system, yes, absolutely. So does everybody here have a methodology for how they wake up in the morning?
Yes.
Yeah. So what's your methodology?
Painful, coffee.
Painful coffee, okay. Right. Snooze twice, tuck and roll, right? Everybody's got sort of a system. I used to set my alarm clock early when I was, actually I don't do it anymore, but when I was in school, I used to set it early so that I would feel like I had more time, right? It's so weird. And so everybody has a methodology for the way they do things. When you drive to work or the same place every day, you might actually know which lane to be in at certain times, right? Or you might decide to go a certain route because there's traffic up ahead, and you have a system for doing that. Why do you use a methodology? Why do you use a system?
Because it's tried and true.
It's tried and true, right? Okay. What else? Any other reason?
Habit.
Sorry?
Habit.
Habit, right? Okay.
It also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
You don't have to think.
You don't have to think. Good. Really good. Okay.
The automatic aspects of it mean that you can concentrate when you're actually needed to do something that's above that.
Right. Do you guys ever drive home and you don't know you've driven home until you're like sitting in front of your house and you're like, how did I get here? Right? Like it's sort of like you have this kind of process for how you do things. So yes, absolutely. So so we're going to talk a little bit about systems today and systems as it pertains to sales. So I want you guys to put your thinking caps on and go to the world of sales and think about this question. So I could make more income if only I could. I could make more income. So from a sales standpoint, things you can control. What are some of the things that would help you make more income? And just from a time standpoint, I actually wrote down a couple of reasons that have come up in my past sessions, okay? So not waste time on unqualified prospects. Who has that issue here? Does anybody here waste time on unqualified prospects, right, that don't end up buying? Okay. What about close business faster? Anybody like to do that? Be more in control of the sales process. Does anybody ever feel out of control of the sales process? Like the prospect is driving the process as opposed to you? And what about having a system or process to follow, kind of like what we just talked about? Does anybody here have a system for how they sell? Has anybody here had sales training? All right, Lisa. Anybody here had sales training before? Okay, great. Great, okay. So yeah, having a system. And then stop giving away information for free. Does anybody here give away information for free? Okay, we call that unpaid consulting, right?
That is my sales process.
That's your second. All right, okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, so what have you tried to do about that? I'm curious. Like, have you tried to do anything about not doing that anymore?
No, because I intuitively say give away information for free. Intuitively know that I am not probably going to land clients for being a salesperson, but instead being a consultant. And so just asking for the referral as a result of them feeling like
You gave it.
that they're already working with me at some point, so it's sort of more of that consultative approach to selling. Sometimes that turns into things, but often I find I'm also telling somebody that what they think they were doing is the wrong thing and they should go a different direction, which means away from me. So sometimes I consult them into not buying.
From you, okay.
Because
Which is a good thing, because you don't want to force them. I mean, you don't want to
So in a
convince them to
sense,
buy.
I'm giving away information for free to build my reputation, because
Right.
all of my clients have come through referral.
Well, a lot of people do like these free sessions or free introductory sessions and things like that. So I think it's about determining whether it makes sense to do that, right? I mean, is it a waste of your time and money? Are you spending a lot of time giving away free information to unqualified people who are not going to buy from you? Or is it actually useful? So I think figuring that out. Sorry. You're going to say something, weren't you?
Oh, no, well, I frequently give away very useful information.
Okay.
And every time we go into one of these free consultations, we say, now, we're not going to, give them everything they need in the next 45 minutes.
Right.
And we have a system, and then we sit down and we say, well, and we end up giving everything away again. So we aren't firm in our system, shall we
Right.
say.
Okay. Well, at least you're trying to have a system. That's a good thing.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about why some of this stuff happens, okay? So I'm going to try to shed some light on why some of this stuff happens. So in the world of selling, you have two systems at work, okay? You have what we call the prospect system, and I use the words prospect and buyer interchangeably, so you might catch me doing that. Prospect system, and you have the seller system, okay? Two systems at work. I mean, really, what sales is just, it's just like a communication method, right? Sales is communication. It's two people communicating to try to agree on something that they're going to take action on. That's what selling is, right? You guys sell with your families, with your friends. I mean, you guys use your selling skills innately all the time. Okay, so prospect and seller. So let's talk about the prospect system. So the first step in the prospect system is, some of you have seen this before, is to mislead. How many of you have ever lied to a salesperson before? Anybody?
To a salesperson.
Yes. Has anybody ever lied to a salesperson? Okay. Have you? Moira hasn't lied to a salesperson. Halo. Okay. So you walk into a furniture store and you know you want a brown leather couch, and 3 salespeople come up to you and they're like, "How may I help you?" And what do you say?
Just looking.
Just looking.
Go away.
So why do you say that when you know you want a brown leather couch? Why do you say that?
So they won't bug you.
So they won't bug you, but why do you think they're going to bug you?
They're sleazy.
They're sleazy. But why do you think they're sleazy? I mean, you
They're
don't even
working
know
on
these
commercial.
people.
You don't feel in control of the process.
And trust.
You don't
Right,
feel in control,
right,
you don't
there's no
feel trust.
yet.
Okay, so why do you not have trust though? Why is there sort of this expectation that is not necessarily positive? Why do you have this expectation? Past experience, okay? So hundreds and hundreds of years of bad amateur salespeople out there, right? That have been, maybe created this stigma, right? Have you guys ever heard of the game Password?
Yes.
Old game. And they now have Taboo and Catchphrase and other games like it. So basically the goal of the game is you have a team and one person on your team has to guess the secret word. And so if the secret word was salesperson, and assuming none of us were salespeople, say the secret word was salesperson, and you guys had to yell out clues to get me to say that word, what would you say?
Used car.
Used car. What else? What else would you say?
Sleazy.
Sleazy. What else?
Shark.
Shark.
Relentless.
Relentless.
Pushy.
Pushy.
Bottom feeder.
Bottom. Oh, that hurts. Okay. Snake oil, maybe?
Snake
That's my favorite one.
Yeah. Upseller.
Upsell. Oh, you're using the word sell. Sorry? What did you say?
I say I'm in account management.
That's how you say you're in account management. Okay. So do you see this list? It's not a very good list, right? So, I mean, people are definitely, you know, it's crazy because these days I kind of meet a lot of kids that want to go into sales. It's a lot of these young kids, you know, coming out of college want to go into sales. But I think back in my day, you know, a lot of people, they never said they wanted to be in sales, right? They always like said, I want to be an attorney or a doctor or something, you know. But yeah, there's a really bad stigma that goes with sales. Everybody thinks that salespeople go to the same school to become trained killers, to be like vultures swooping down, grabbing your wallet, right? And they use the same like phrases, right? Salespeople say things like, would you like me to send you the contract on Wednesday or Friday? You better buy today or the price will go up on Monday, right? There's all these clauses that have been taught over the years by sales training companies that are starting to sound like just old, okay? So really, really not a good first, I guess, a feeling. And a lot of, I think, the issues, somebody said it, has to do with a lack of trust. And this lack of trust is, again, developed by hundreds of years of bad amateur salespeople. And you guys could be totally honest and ethical, but the problem is there's an amateur salesperson calling on your prospect right before you, right? So, and you never really know whether a prospect is interested. So you never really know. You don't know, they could say that they're interested, but they're really not. Why would they pretend they're interested?
Be nice.
Be nice, okay. Why else?
Fish for information.
Fish for information. Maybe they want to like collect your information. What about, they could say that they're not interested and really they are, right? So if I call them and say, hi, this is Linda Palermo from Sandler Training, I'm not interested. How can they say that? They don't even know what I'm going to say to them, right? But maybe they decide they're not interested and really they could have been.